Black Swan theory is a metaphor that describes an event that comes in as a surprise and has a major impact. So the theory was black swans did not exist until they were discovered in 1697. So a couple definitions of black swan is the disproportionate role of high-profile, hard-to-predict, and rare events that are beyond the realm of normal experiences, expectations in history, science, finance, and technology. Also, the psychological biases that blind people, both individually and collectively, to uncertainty and the substantial role of rare events in historical affairs. Once again, the black swan was believed not to exist until it did. So 2024, they're saying, a lot of people are saying, is the year expect a black swan event, which incidentally, if you look, a lot of people said that about 2023, expect a black swan event. So what does that mean? Expect the unexpected. That's just a fancy way of saying expect the unexpected, expect something significant to happen that nobody expects that's going to have a major impact. And we talked about predictions, expectations, for 2024 already. Have the list here. I'll kind of go through it again as it ties into the idea of what could possibly be unexpected. Right in 2024, what's left? What are we missing? Is it alien invasion? Is alien invasion the black swan event? Like what could possibly be left that we haven't already seen, that we're not already expecting at this point? So I'm curious when they say expect a black swan event. So wars, new and ongoing, right? Everyone knows there's wars. We have wars. There's lots of wars going on in the world. Possibility for new wars is almost a certainty at this point, whether that's Venezuela, whether that's Yemen, Iran, China, North Korea, Taiwan, something, right? So the idea of more wars, significant wars, I don't know if that counts as black swan. I think that's just the world we live in now. I think that's expected. Something like an EMP attack certainly would be a surprise. Nuclear war would be horrible, and I made a couple videos I'm working on that. Hopefully those aren't too grim and horrible for YouTube. Civil War, right? A lot of people talk about it. The movie's coming out next year. Certainly enjoy the movie. It'll be interesting to see. It doesn't sound very plausible when you have Texas and California joining forces. I don't see that happening. I guess that would certainly be a black swan event if Texas and California decided they were on the same side all of a sudden, right? And we've talked about the surprisingly solid mathematical case for the tinfoil hat prepper that says in any average American lifespan, there's a 37% of violent uprisings. So certainly statistically, there's always that possibility in anyone's lifetime of something like a violent uprising in the United States. And that's just using hydrology math. That's not pushing doom and gloom and fear and all the rest of that stuff. It's just mathematics that happens. Those kind of things happen. So would that be a black swan? Well, I guess it would certainly surprise everyone, right? Is anyone expecting that? Maybe you should be. Maybe you should just be expecting that. Pandemic, new pandemics, old pandemics, good pandemics, bad pandemics, right? I guess they're all bad pandemics. Some are more lethal than others, right? There's a lot of things out there. You talk about Marburg virus or smallpox or Ebola or any of the many things, any of the nasties, whether they're natural or man-made. There seems to be no end to talk about pandemics, right? It's all out there. Lockdowns, well, we had mentioned lockdowns. A lot of people were predicting lockdowns a couple months ago. I wouldn't take it off the table at this point. I don't see any kind of a pandemic that would justify lockdowns, but that doesn't mean it won't happen, right? We'll have to see on that. I think people were predicting it already, and maybe going into 2024 it might happen, but certainly don't be surprised. I don't know that counts as black swan because we've already had lockdowns. That's nothing new or unpredictable. Cyber attacks, of course, yeah, cyber attacks, always everything's under cyber attack. They are getting worse. AI is coming on board, and there are labs where AI is writing AI. So whenever you have AI writing AI, you get close to what they call the singularity, which is the point at which AI starts writing AI, and it grows exponentially, right? So when AI can write AI, write better AI, it starts to write itself. We become very disconnected from the base code, the base instructions. Hard to know what AI is doing when we didn't write the code, right? So AI writing AI, the great singularity, maybe that's the black swan. Sort of already saying keep an eye out for that, right? I'm trying to get ahead of these black swan events here. What do you got? What are you going to throw at me here? What do you got left? Civil unrest, sure. Political activism, civil unrest. Well, it's an election year. Certainly expect civil unrest to some extent. Hopefully just protests and nothing violent. Keep it mostly peaceful in 2024, guys. But you already see that with the pro-Palestinian protesters and everything else going on. So civil unrest in 2024, not a black swan. That's just, you should probably expect that to happen. Economic issues, sure. The economic indicators are all over the board right now, honestly. I know we've talked about that before. The stock market's up, but gold is up. And usually when the stock market's up, gold is down. So gold is up, stock market's up. They're predicting crashes in the real estate market, predicting crashes in the stock market. But on the flip side, and this is not financial advice, even though on paper I'm certainly qualified to be a financial advisor, I'm not a financial advisor. I'm not giving financial advice. You're seeing gold now being sold at Walmart, right? Which to me says that the run is over, the fun is over, right? Who's dumping the gold to sell at Walmart to people if they don't expect the price to crash? They're just trying to dump as much as they can. So there's some major players dumping gold right now on the sneak by selling at places like Walmart and Costco or wherever. That's just my opinion, not financial advice. Expect that to go down. Maybe that's the black swan, a gold crash. People aren't allowed to win, right? So when they're selling at Walmart, you realize what that means. All right, civil unrest, economic issues, supply chain, significant supply chain issues. Well, there's sort of this barricade going, and I think it's the Red Sea. That's bad. Major shipping companies have to go around the bottom of Africa. I think they call it Cape Hope. It's going to add significant delays to supply chain. So that is something to be aware of. Don't know how long that's going to last or what's going to happen with that, but that absolutely directly affects the supply chain. So sure, expect significant supply chain issues going into 2024. What's the black swan? Well, we already have major shipping lanes blocked out, so I'm not sure what the surprise is there. Major grid down. That is certainly a possibility for a lot of reasons that we've spoken about many times. It's not the point of this video is not to go down the grid down, but I think it is absolutely a possibility. And unfortunate. It would be very unfortunate. They're saying 90% of the population would die in the first year. That is avoidable, right? It's just our gross dependency on technology. Terrorist attacks. What would a black swan terrorist attack be? Well, it'd have to be a big one. But Homeland Security is already saying expect terrorist attacks, right? They're already saying that. So what's the black swan? I don't know. Something horrible, I suspect. So what do you do, right? What's the other black swan? I guess alien invasion, right? I'm not putting that on the list because I'm trying to be a little serious here. Maybe that's the black swan. Maybe they know that's coming and that's what they're warning us about. Be ready for a black swan. Something unexpected, something bad. I think everyone has that feeling right now that it's just so much negative going on right now that it all has to come to a head at some point, or this is just going to keep dragging out, right? We just don't know. You can prepare. I always say I'm second generation prepper, and we try to give examples of how to prepare on this channel, and a lot of people do, and there's a lot of great YouTube preppers out there. There's quite a few I watch myself. A lot of good videos out there. But beyond watching YouTube videos on prepping, look at your water, look at your food, look at your medical supplies, maybe your self-defense tools if you think that's necessary. A lot of options out there. Just be aware, be prepared, keep your eyes open, keep an eye on what's going on, and expect the unexpected, right? It's not as fancy as saying the black swan is coming to get us all. Not nearly as sophisticated, but that's really what we're talking about is expect the unexpected. There's a lot of things you can do to be prepared in the event that something happens. And number one is not be surprised, but when we're talking about things like war, terrorism, supply chain, just make sure you're stocked up. Make sure you're stocked up now. It's not too late, but any of those situations could create a scenario where it's actually at that point too late to start preparing, right? You can't prepare for a tornado when it's over your house. You can't prepare for a hurricane when it's in your town, right? So that's the whole idea of preparation, is to get ready ahead of time in the event something happens. And if you're preparing smartly, what I mean by that is, don't buy food you don't eat, right? You can build a long-term food storage pantry and rotate the food, so then you're eating the food. So at that point, nothing's going to waste. You're not hoarding piles of food that you're never going to eat. You can build out some basic preparation, get some water, stash up some water, do things like that. So we've talked about that a lot. There's a lot more to come on how to get prepared and things you might want to think about in terms of being prepared. But the number one thing I think right now that I'm trying to say with the Black Swan is expect the unexpected. That's what everyone's saying. 2024's gonna be a crazy year, is what I feel like. That's where we're at. So I hope that helps out. As always, thank you for watching, and we appreciate you.